Today on Studio G, Heather Fayerberger will take us to Charityville outside of the Student Union.
And later, Austin Eddy will sit down with UNLV student body presidential candidates Cole Turner and Mark Ciavola.
We have all your news from around the globe and from here on campus. All this and more coming up on Studio G. Good afternoon and welcome to this Tuesday edition of Studio G. I'm Bree Bradley.
And I'm Jamie Seymour. Military authorities are investigating a training exercise explosion at the Hawthorne Army Depot in Hawthorne, Nevada. The Associated Press reports that the explosion that happened at about 10 p.m. Monday killed 7 Marines. Several others were injured and taken to area hospitals. The facility is made up of hundreds of buildings for storing and disposing ammunition in the western part of Nevada. Henderson police are asking for the public's help in searching for a man connected to an attempted kidnapping. Police say a 6-year-old female was grabbed Sunday before noon outside of a bathroom near the ball fields at Mountain View Park on Wigwam Parkway, where her father was coaching baseball. Police say the man covered the girl's mouth with his hand. The girl was able to scream and escape, suffering minor scratches. Police described the suspect as a white male in his late 20s to early 30s, 5'7" to 5'10" tall, between 190 to 250 pounds. Police say the suspect was seen fleeing an area in a 2-door faded red older model Volkswagen, possibly a Golf model. Police urge anyone with information to call Crime Stoppers at 385-5555.
A state senator has introduced legislation that would abolish the Las Vegas Township Constable's Office. The bill introduced Monday by Republican Michael Robertson would put the responsibilities of the Constable's Office in the hands of the sheriff. The Constable's Office is presently responsible for issuing eviction notices and other Clark County paperwork. The office has faced recent criticism following the arrest of head constable John Benaventura for DUI on February 12th. The charge was later dropped by Clark County District Attorney. The bill in Carson City comes the day before Clark County Commissions is set to consider its own proposal to abolish the office. Constable Bonaventura tried to delay the commission's vote with the restraining order. The district court judge denied the restraining order yesterday.
Now let's look at some major headlines across the nation. On Monday, the campus of the University of Central Florida narrowly avoided a large attack planned by a former student. 30-year-old James Siva Camuran set the fire alarms off in the Tower 1 dormitory where he resided. After his roommate called police and hid in their dorm bathroom, police arrived to find Siva Camuran dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head, along with a handgun, an assault rifle and ammunition, and a backpack full of self-made explosives. Authorities also found a timeline set by Siva Camuran with a detailed list of where he planned to go and what he hoped to accomplish.
It could have been a very bad day for everybody here. All things considered, I think that we were very blessed here at the University of Central Florida.
A neighborhood in South Bend, Indiana received quite the shock when a corporate jet crashed into a row of homes on Sunday. 2 passengers of the jet were killed along with 3 others injured. 3 homes were destroyed in the crash and the plane was sheared in half in an attempt to circle back to the airport after a failed landing attempt due to problems with the technical equipment. This caused it to spiral down into the homes. Authorities are still dealing with the mess left behind.
The fuel is an issue. The leak has been stopped, but there still is fuel in the basement, and that is one of our major concerns, is the fuel.
That is all the national news I have for you today. Now let's go to reporter Alex Bull to see what's going on across the pond. Alex?
Thanks, Jamie. We actually start the day with some news from Canada, where 3 people have been arrested after 2 inmates escaped from a correctional facility in Quebec using a helicopter. Here you see video of 1 and 2 inmates who were captured after a brief standoff from police. Of a hovercraft dropped across the cable allowed the inmates to grab on before whisking them away. To a packed car nearby, the police say that the helicopter pilot has been treated and was not a witness, a suspect. Investigators have not said whether the pilot was forced to participate in the getaway. The public has been praised for their cooperation with the police.
Tell you that it is following the calls of citizens that helped us to locate the people that were missing, and we want to thank every citizen. As we are speaking, the suspects are being brought to the Saint-Jérôme prison, not the prison, but the courthouse, where they are due in court this afternoon.
Activists in Bhopal, India are protesting in front of government buildings to demand better safety for women in province. Indians are being called for justice after a series of high-profile rape cases. 6 men have been arrested following a gang rape and robbery of a Swiss tourist in central India and were due to appear in court today. The attack comes just a few months after a national outcry against sexual abuse following the death of a 23-year-old woman who was savagely gang raped and severely beaten aboard a New Delhi bus late last year. However, the recent affairs have prompted thousands to take to the streets, and the youths are using the internet to bring about a change.
If we need to pass on a message, we've usually used networks like the Facebook or Twitter even, something just as 140 characters can do a lot to mobilize people, to mobilize the youth.
David Hasselhoff has made his way back to the Berlin Wall, this time to save it. Property developers are planning to tear down the 1.3 kilometre section, but demolition was suspended when activists forced a human chain in front of it. A large crowd of people showed up to help show their support. They want to preserve the longest surviving section of the Berlin Wall. Hasselhoff is lending his support, once again climbing onto the wall to talk to demonstrators. The Hoff topped the German pop charts with his song, Looking for Freedom, which he sang on top of the Berlin Wall in a performance in 1989. Well, that's all the news across the pond. Make sure to tune in next week for more international national news. Now let's send it back to the desk with Jamie and Bree.
When we get back from the break, Austin Eddy will have the latest in sports.
And Heather Fayerberger will fill you in on the weather for today and the rest of the week. Don't touch that keyboard. We'll be right back.
At UNLV, where students can express their creative side. You can also check out the current exhibits at the Grant Hall Gallery, Jesse Metcalf Gallery, and Donna Beam Gallery of Fine Art, featuring recent artwork displays by students, staff, and local artists. Whether your forte is taking photos, painting a picture, or carving a sculpture, make sure to check out the UNLV Art Department located in the Alta Ham Fine Arts Building.
It's convenience. It saves me a lot of money because I'm on a meal plan basically, and it saves me time because I don't have to walk across the street. It saves me gas because I don't have to drive anywhere to eat, and especially being a lazy college student, I can just walk right over here when I'm hungry and not have to wait that much longer to get food.
Welcome back from the break. I'm Austin Eddy with your daily sports update. We start today with information about the Runnin' Rebels send-off at 4:45 today. Our East Region number 5 seeded men's basketball team will depart from the Thomas & Mack Center to the airport for their March Madness game against the number 12 seeded Cal Bears. The bus will depart from the White Lot, and then you can catch them in action on Thursday night at 4:27 Pacific time on True TV. From the hardwood to the field, the UNLV baseball team returned to their winning ways last night. The Rebels defeated former conference rival BYU by a score of 10-3, thanks in large part to senior left-hander Mark Shannon, who threw 7 innings, allowing only 3 runs on 6 hits while striking out 5. From the plate, the Rebels were led by freshman Justin Jones, who went 3 for 4 with a run and an RBI. UNLV will head back on the road for its next series against Mountain West foe San Diego State, a 3-game series against the Aztecs starting Friday the 22nd through Sunday the 24th. In professional sports, it seems as though nobody can beat the Miami Heat. The Heat won their 23rd consecutive game last night in a come-from-behind effort over the Boston Celtics. LeBron James nailed the go-ahead jumper with 10.5 seconds left to lead Miami to the second-longest winning streak in NBA history, surpassing the 22 straight that Houston won in 2007 and 2008. The Heat now only trail the 33 in a row won by the 1971-72 Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James explains how much the streak means to him.
That means a lot. You know, like you said, I am a historian of the game. I know the history of the game. I mean, almost all the teams that have come through the ranks. So to be sitting in second place right now, with so much that this game has, just given to our fans and everything. For us to be there and doing it the way we want to do it, it means a lot.
The Heat take on Cleveland tomorrow night, looking for their 24th straight victory. In the Western Conference, Andre Iguodala drained a three-pointer with 7.1 seconds left in overtime to give the Denver Nuggets their 12th straight victory overall. The Nuggets defeated the Chicago Bulls 119-118. The Nuggets are still vying for the 4th seed in the West. Well, that does it for your daily sports update. Tune in tomorrow for the ever-informative Stephen Marsh Sports Spectacular. Now stepping in for our injured Heather Feyerberger, Carl Winder with the weather. Carl?
Austin, thank you very much for just making us a little bit more smarter on sports. As for the weather today, it is quite nice outside, quite balmy, 75 degrees outside. We have a little bit of windage at 8 miles an hour. Can't even feel it. As we look at our almanac, low of 61, feels like just a winter day from 2 months ago. As we look at our local weather, as you can see, a little bit of clouds, but they're moving out of the way. Can't say the same for southern Utah or northern Arizona. Lots of rain, a little bit of rain happening over there. But what you need to pay attention to is what's happening in San Jose right now. Lots of rain right now in San Jose, in the Bay Area, but since the UNLV Rebels are going to be playing indoors, it's not going to be too much of a problem. As we look at our map right now, 70 degrees all over the place, so it's a nice time to go out to the White Lock, like Austin said earlier, and say au revoir and bon voyage to the Runnin' Rebels. Looking at our national map, you can look over here in the northeast. It's very snowy right now, happening with Superstorm Uko. And looking right here, Miami 77 degrees, Fargo 13 degrees, and Sacramento 63. And looking at our 7-day forecast, it's going to be 79 on Wednesday, 75 on Thursday, 72 on Friday, 60s throughout the weekend till Monday, and 77 on Tuesday. Now that's the weather, and it has been great, especially for students on campus that have been using recycled goods to build houses, trains, tanks, in the spirit of charity. Studio G reporter Heather Feyerberger has more on the story.
You might have seen the box structures outside of the Student Union. Charityville involves student organizations around campus teamed up with the Residence Hall Association to get creative and use recycled goods to build structures representing several charities.
It's where different student organizations compile together and use recyclable materials to build structures that represent a chosen charity.
Examples of charities include the Nevada Partnership for Homeless Youth, the USO, St. Jude's, and Toys for Smiles. Each team worked from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday to put their structures together.
We're just having a good time out here at the RHA Charityville event, just cutting up cardboard, as you can see, and air filters, a bunch of recyclable, reusable items that we kind of took out of trash cans all over the city.
Students, faculty, and the general public vote for their favorite structure or charity by donating money.
At the end of the day, we tally up all the donations, and the person or the organization, I should say, and charity that receives the most donations gets first place. We have 3 prizes: first place, second place, and then most creative.
I mean, there's a lot of creativity out here right now, so the field is as wide, and we're just hoping to stand out.
I think the epitome of the most creative should incorporate both the organization and the charity. So you should be able to see both of them in there, see it represented.
For Studio G, I'm Heather Feyerberger.
I think that's really great that they're getting together for charity and donating to these causes.
Speaking of charity, this weekend was actually St. Patrick's Day. What did you end up doing?
I didn't donate to charity. I actually had sorority meetings and I studied. I didn't go out and have my fun.
That's a terrible St. Patrick's Day.
What about
Maybe
you?
next year.
I'll try.
The Las Vegas Valley had many St. Patrick's Day celebrations that took place across town. The Southern Nevada Sons of Erin hosted its 47th St. Patrick's Day Parade and Festival this past week. The festivities began on March 14th and carried on until St. Patrick's Day. Those who attended were able to celebrate the Irish culture as well as a carnival and a traditional Irish parade. The festival offered an information booth that allowed people to gain more insight on the culture. St. Patrick also made an appearance that stated that the festival is open to anyone, whether or not they come from an Irish descent.
We don't limit it to Irish people. Anybody that wants to be Irish or has an affiliation with the Irish can join. For example, the mayor of Dublin was Jewish. And it makes no difference to us. We're willing to accept anybody in who believes in fraternity, loyalty, and fidelity.
While those of Irish descent attended and portrayed their heritage, other people were drawn to the festival because of its entertainment. It is claimed to be one of the largest St. Patrick's Day festivals in Nevada. According to St. Patrick and a local attendee, the parade is a yearly well-known tradition that interests many people.
It is the largest parade in the entire state of Nevada.
It's very enjoyable. I think people have a lot of fun. The parade, we missed the parade at 10 a.m., but the parade is always good. And people are just, there's so many people here.
The proceeds from the festival benefit a local charity each year. This year, the St. Baldrick's Foundation benefited from the event.
Out with the old and in with the new. Web Campus is getting a whole new look that everyone will get to see next semester, whether you want to or not.
If you thought that you were just getting a hang of Web Campus, all of UNLV will be making a transition to an upgraded version in the fall of next year.
There's a lot of added features for faculty and students that are in the new system. The hardware in the background is also better than what we have right now.
Currently, only hospitality and nursing students are using the Web Campus pilot version. Between the two colleges, feedback from students has been back and forth.
We've sent out a survey and we're getting ready to compile those results and make them available to users. There's been a mix. Some people like certain features while other people kind of don't like the features.
In order to get ready for the switch, public service interns like Kyle Bowen have been training UNLV's IT help desk on how to assist both faculty and students.
Since we're in the pilot phase, it's just new problems come up and sometimes we don't know what it is that's causing the problem. So we're in the point where we're just investigating problems and learning how the pilot works. These are some things even we don't know for sure yet, so that's why we're testing it right now.
Neil Weiss, a hospitality major, is one of the students that has been using Web Campus Pilot this semester.
I don't have too many problems with it, but compared to the other one, I like the other one better, just because right when you go into it, it tells you everything you have. Like if you have mail, if you have a discussion post, if you have an assessment, it's right there. You don't have to go into your class to even find it, and that's the biggest thing.
Aside from getting the IT help desk ready to take calls for students and faculty that need help, OIT is also planning on putting out video tutorials and website instructions before the new Web Campus becomes university-wide.
But we're trying to get some online videos put up to highlight some of the changes that students need to be aware of, and then putting out more tutorials. Hopefully that'll help with the transition, because right now they haven't had any training and are struggling with it.
It seems the new Web Campus will take some getting used to, but it all comes with time.
There isn't anything I don't particularly like. It's just the learning curve that is kind of an issue because you don't know where certain things are. But everything that was in the old version's in the new one. It's just in different places.
Just confusion at first, but it's not harder. It's just not as good. It's not complicated. It's just different. That's all.
For Studio G with UNLV, I'm Taylor Albers.
Features that have been requested over the years of using Web Campus will be available in the new pilot, including calendar enhancements and a drag and drop functionality. Students that don't already have access to the new Web Campus can get a sneak preview by going to wcpilot.unlv.edu and clicking Preview as Guest. When we come back, Austin Eddy will sit down with UNLV student body presidential candidates Mark Ciavola and Cole Turner.
Where is the moment we needed the most? You kick up the leaves and the magic is lost. Tell me your blue skies fade to gray. Tell me your passion's gone away. And I don't need no carrying on. You stand in the line just to hit a new low. You're faking a smile with the coffee to go. 'cause you had a bad day.
Hey guys, welcome back to Studio G. I'm joined now by the two men who will be facing off in the UNLV general election beginning on April 3rd. Student body presidential candidates Cole Turner and Mark Ciavola. Welcome. I will ask you both the same few questions, and you'll have 1 minute each to respond. Your responses will be timed, and I will be forced to interrupt you if you exceed that amount of time. After the two questions, you'll have each 2 minutes to address why you guys should be student body presidents. Cole, you will have the opportunity to answer first. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, first question for you. The Nevada legislature is currently in session in Carson City, which means there can be some major shifts in the way funding is allocated within the Nevada system of higher education. As president, how would you defend the students' rights to a quality education to the Nevada legislature, as well as the Nevada system of higher education regions? You have 1 minute to answer. Your time starts now.
Well, under the current funding formula, students in all schools, especially Northern Nevada, such as Grand Basin Community College, are getting more money per student than UNLV. UNLV, the current funding formula that is, or the funding formula that is in legislature right now, is going to better benefit UNLV students if it is able to go through. And so, as the student body president, I believe it would be my duty to fight and do everything in my ability to get that passed to help benefit UNLV students. It immediately will affect students in the sense that there will be more money in UNLV for them to be able to spend and help each other or do whatever they need to do to benefit UNLV students, as well as flipping the way that the budget is allocated in future, because it's going to be giving students more money or giving the school more money if the school is putting out students rather than for the students they take in. And so it's going to give the school more motive to work harder to give better education to the students.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Cole. Mark, same question to you. Would you like me to refresh the question, or are you okay?
No, we're good.
All right, 1 minute starts now.
So the current funding formula debate, sure, it's certainly better than what we have now, but the numbers really aren't in for UNLV, and we need to see what those numbers are. It could generate an additional $2 million a year for UNLV. It could also cost us $6 million. And obviously, if it costs us $6 million, it's probably not something we want to get behind. And so we need to wait and see and can't be too eager to get behind something we don't fully understand yet. But what I will say is that the additional revenues that will be coming in, where they're spent is perhaps the most important part of this conversation. We had an 8% tuition increase in December of 2011 that the previous student body president supported. We were told that student services would improve. They have not. We were told that student class accessibility would improve. They have not. And the number one priority now for this administration is an increase in faculty and staff pay, which is not pro-student. So we need to make sure that we're looking out for students every step of the way, even if it's not a popular decision with the administration.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Mark. All right, guys, question number 2 now. As we know, the Regional Transportation Commission recently broke ground to build a transit center here on campus, taking away several parking spaces from students and staff. Mark, you said yourself in an interview with the Rebel Yell that the parking issue will likely not be fixed while any of us are still in school. What is the short-term solution to the issue of parking here on campus? Mark, we'll start with you this time. You have 1 minute to answer. Your time starts now.
Sure. Well, the transit center project is awful, in my opinion, and I don't support it, but it was 3 years in the making, and so there wasn't much anyone could do about it. The master plan calls for 9 parking garages. That obviously will solve the problems. In the meantime, we need to work on the stuff we can actually affect now. Getting parking fees to not increase until 2015 is huge. We were able to fight for that. So maybe we can all get out of here before they go up again.
Right.
We also were able to stop weekend parking enforcement, which is huge for any students that are here on the weekends, whether it's here to study at the library or to take part in student organizations like Greek Life, et cetera. So those are kind of the small things we can work on. We're also looking at trying to find ways to bring back the student parking that was lost to the transit center, perhaps in the parking lot behind the library, some areas like that. And that's being looked at now by the parking committee, which I sit on.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Mark. Cole, you ready? Would you like a refresh on the question?
No, I'm good on it as well.
All right, go ahead.
As Mark said, I'm very in agreement with him in the sense that I'm against the RTC Transit Center that was just built over there or is in the process of being built.
Right.
In terms of short-term parking, I believe you have to try and make up for the spots that we just lost. Whether it's you go and you eliminate some staff parking spots to give them to students, or if you work out front of, behind the library or out front of the SU to better the students' parking options out there. One of the good things that I would be pro is getting the staff parking moved to after 5 o'clock, which I believe it is in front of just the SU now. But also the meters, if you are parking for a meeting after 5 o'clock in front of the student union, I think that if you're a student, you shouldn't have to pay for the meter parking right there. You already pay, I think it's $60 a semester to park out front of the student, or wherever a student parking spot is. And so in the short term, I believe it's just little things that you fight for, just to gather. Every single spot's going to matter to students that you're able to pick up. So it's things like that that you need to fight for. In the long term, you have to be pushing the parking committee.
All right. Got to cut you off, sorry. After 1 minute. You guys did great, though, with both the answers. Thank you both. You'll have now 2 minutes each to directly address the voters here on the UNLV campus. The first question went to you, Cole. So, Mark, you will get the first 2-minute segment to explain why they should re-elect Mark Ciovola.
Sure. I just want to address a couple things from Cole's previous answer. Parking passes are now $125, not $60, which is a lot of money for students, and that's for any student parking space on campus. We're not able to move the staff out from in front of the student union because of traffic concerns on Maryland Parkway. It was one of the first things I fought for when I was elected. It's just not an option. The meters are after 7, but staff is after 5 if you have a student permit. And we were able to persuade the parking department to make that standard in all parking lots, even though some of them were not 5 o'clock. You know, ultimately over the last year, we've been able to cut our own salaries 25%, save students $250,000 over that time, increase scholarships, creating a summer scholarship, a non-traditional scholarship, research and development, textbook scholarship, working now on a veterans and active duty military scholarship. We've improved campus life with bus rides to home football games, 2 Rebel road trips, San Diego for football, Reno for basketball. We funded the UNLV CSUN preschool with a permanent bylaw. We've made the game room in the student union free for indefinitely. We sponsored Greek Week to bring more Greeks into CSUN, doubled the number of Greeks in CSUN so they're properly represented. We have been able to affect almost the entire campus community over the last year. And I would ask for students for their vote so that we can continue doing the things that we've been doing, as I believe we've been one of the most productive editions of CSUN in recent memory. And again, you know, you look at all of the issues that are plaguing us, a lot of them have to do with money. We've fought for better parking policies and succeeded. We stopped a $6 per credit fee from going through an increase. We stopped mandatory health insurance from being a condition of enrollment here at UNLV. We've consistently fought against tuition increases. And so while I respect Cole Turner deeply, and he works for me now as an assistant campus life director, the job of student body president is bigger than just campus life. You need somebody that's going to go to bat for students on these issues. We've done that. We've been successful at that, and I think we've earned a second term.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Mark. Cole, 2 minutes. It's all you.
Biggest thing Mark said just now was the student body president is bigger than campus life. That's one of the things that I acknowledge and I'm going to work towards. There's no reason that a student body president should focus 100% on campus life. There are many more things that you need to focus on to help students. Scholarships being one, improving the scholarships that we give out and getting more applicants in. It's a big thing in CSUN now, and that's another thing that we need to continue to push for if our ticket does get elected to office. Another big thing going to campus life to discuss it that we would believe promoting would be a huge thing and would ultimately improve the experience of students at UNLV would be an on-campus concert. As CSUN is working on now, and I believe they passed 10 to 9 last night, that's one thing that we would like to work on. Not just one, but if you have one in the fall and one in the spring to give all the seniors on campus what they've been waiting 4 years for. It's a huge thing to me. It's something that all students on UNLV want and all students on UNLV deserve. It's something that they're going to be able to remember their college experience by. Moving from campus life, we are all in the same agreement that the student body president's duty is to fight for students in terms to save them money in every aspect possible. If you're a student body president and you get up there and you don't do that, then there's no reason you should be elected to the office in the first place.
All right, perfect. Well, Cole, thank you so much for joining us in the studio today. Mark, thank you. Best of luck to both of you guys, gentlemen. And that's going to do it for today's show. I'd like to thank candidates Cole Turner and Mark Ciovola for joining me. The general elections are happening Wednesday, April 3rd on campus and online until April 4th through My UNLV. Thank you for watching, and have a great day, UNLV.
I love the colorful clothes she wears and the way the sunlight plays upon her hair. I hear the sound of a gentle word on the wind that lifts her perfume through the air.